Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Psychic Talk Radio. This is the Doctors Are In show, live on air on this Friday, January 24th, 2020. I can't believe it's almost the end of January already. I'm your host, Dax Carlisle, coming to you live from Tucson, Arizona, and joining me is the fabulous Dr. Rose Wilkerson from Berkeley. Hey, Dr. Rose, how's it going?
Hey, Dax. Hey, everybody. So happy to be here on a Friday morning. Feeling good. Hope everybody's feeling good as well.
That's right. Hey, we are a live call-in show, so give us a ring. You can also join us in the chat room as well and ask questions, get a mini reading right from there. So the number to call in is 714-816-4628. And Dr. Rose and I are in the chat room live right now at thetarotguild.com/chat. That's thetarotguild.com/chat. And you can pop into the chat room with us there. You can chat with us live during the show. You can ask questions. You can ask, even for a mini reading right there in the chat room. We'd be happy to do that. Of course, we prefer to talk to you on the phone because that's way more fun, right, Dr. Rose?
Absolutely.
Yes, so you can give us a ring at 714-816-4628. We got some callers getting into the queue now. We take the calls in the order that they come in. So as soon as you get through, remember to press 1 on your dial pad so that we know that you want to be live on air. And if you're using Skype or something like that, you got to open the dial pad on the app and then press 1. And that kind of raises your hand on the switchboard. We know you want to be live on air, and then we take the calls in the order that they come in. 714-816-4628. You can ask us questions about tarot and numerology and emotional freedom techniques and angels and mantras and Vedic meditation, hypnosis, NLP, psychic development, and a lot more. Everything that we talk about here on the network is fair game. Between Rose and I, we pretty much have everything covered. And you can also call in for a free tarot mini reading live on air as well. We'd be happy to do that for you. And today we got a great topic for you too. Here we are. I just mentioned it's the 24th. I can't believe that January's almost gone already, Rose. What's going on with this? It's just blasting by.
A whole year went by. So I don't know what's going on.
I don't remember what happened with 2019, let alone, it's like the month's almost gone, and we just had New Year's. It feels like yesterday, but it was actually weeks ago. And people set their New Year's resolutions, and, this is the time, Rose, towards the end of January, here we are, the 24th, beginning of February. That's when those resolutions start to fade.
Right.
Yeah.
You start looking at how serious you have to be with the structure and all these other things that get in the way about that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I try to do a show like this at the beginning of each year to get us all on the right footing. And I've done different ones on different years. I've talked about setting New Year's resolutions versus intentions, and that may come up in the conversation here. And this year we're going to talk about SMART goals. But let me talk about resolutions real quick. Is the main thing is when we set our New Year's resolutions, we're not actually setting New Year's resolutions. Have you ever thought of this, Rose? What the word resolution meant to like our grandparents and our great-grandparents, it's just not the same nowadays. To resolve to do something when you resolve to do something, that's it. There's no if you're going to do it. It's a resolution. But what it's morphed into these days is more like a wish, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm glad you talked about that because I was thinking the same thing. There's a difference between a wish and setting a goal, right? A lot of people wish things. Like, I wish I could have $1 million, but am I going to work towards that, or how am I going to make that happen? That's a whole different thing. That's a two different conversations.
this is the way I look at it. Real resolutions are goals with a plan. A goal without a plan is just a wish. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, it does.
Yeah. So we may set a resolution and say, I want to be healthier this year. I want to lose weight. I want to exercise more. I want to make more money. I want to get a new job. What quit smoking. Whatever the resolution supposedly is, they're not setting a goal with a plan, and what they're doing is they're just wishing. It's more like, well, it'd be nice to lose a few pounds, but they're not making a real resolution. And we just had our 10th anniversary, so we've been on air for 10 years. I've been talking about this for 10 years, every January. And initially, my thing was, kind of a rah-rah thing. Let's really bring back resolutions and what they really are. Yeah, that ain't working so much. Okay, and
right.
So lately, I've talked more about intentions. Intentions are stronger goals. You're actually setting the intention, and it's like through the law of attraction to attract in what it is that you're trying to achieve. But I think it's, and I've tried that too, and it's worked better than resolutions, but it's still a little bit nebulous. And so this year I thought, hey, let's talk about SMART goals. So what a SMART goal is, SMART's an acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Actually, a lot of different people interchange different words, but it's within the same ballpark when you research this here. And this at least gives you a plan, doing a SMART goal.
Right.
Yes. So let's break it down. S.M.A.R.T. So the first one is specific, simple, sensible, significant. That some of the other words that people use for this one. But the main thing, and arguably this is the most important step, Rose, get specific. Because usually these resolutions are so generalized. They're so vague. This year I want to be healthier. What does that mean? And then you can get a little specificer, a little bit specificer. I just made up a word. You can get a little more specific with healthier by saying, I want to exercise more, I want to lose weight. Yeah, but that's still general too. Make more money. What does that mean? You got to get really, really specific. Okay, I want to go to the gym 3 days a week. Make money. I want to make more money. What does that mean? I want to make $500 more a month. I want to make 10,000, 40,000 more a year. A very specific goal. I want to lose 30 pounds.
Right.
See, now you're getting specific, because once you get specific, then you can design a plan around that. If you're not specific, you don't know where you're going. It's like getting in the car and turning on, starting the car and turning on the GPS, but you don't put in an address.
Exactly.
You're not, you put an address in, it's going to get you there. Even if you start heading in the wrong direction, it'll tell you to turn around. But if you don't put the address in, you got to get specific. It also needs to be measurable, meaningful, motivating. Those are some of the other words, but the main thing is measurable. how are you
have
going?
a question for you.
Yeah.
About that. Go ahead and I have a question, especially things like, so for example, like thinking about the spiritual community and the psychic community, how do you measure something that's a bit more nebulous, like having a more peaceful mind? You know, that's a big question. And how do you, like, I can break it down, okay, I'm going to meditate so many times a day, a week, or whatnot, but how would you measure something like that? I know one thing I do have is a problem. How do I make it measurable? Like, how do I figure that part out, especially if it's something nebulous like peace of mind?
I got a big jet going overhead, so it's a little bit noisy right now. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Can you hear me okay, Rose?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think it's going away.
It's going away now. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much answered your own question right there. It's true of things that are a little bit vague or a little bit more nebulous. That, and it's also true of things that are a goal that is measurable, that is very specific, but has a lot of steps to it. Both of those situations, what you do is you break it down into smaller sub-goals, which is exactly what you just said, yeah. And also, you know, if it's on the more nebulous, vague side, go back to step one. Make it more specific. Yeah. So working with the specific and the measurable, how do I define reaching that goal of a peaceful mind, or, you know, whatever the more vague version is? And like you said, you know, controlling your thoughts, especially the negative ones, might be a sub goal. Meditating might be a sub goal. So you set these sub goals, and then you set the S.M.A.R.T. You set the plan for each one of those, and you put them in order of the way you want to go about it. Do you want to you know, knock out the most difficult one first, or do you want to start with maybe a simpler one and work your way up? However, however you prefer to work it. Yeah, that's why these first two are really important. You got to get really specific, and it's got to be measured. Yes, and then achievable, actionable, attainable. That's some other words that people use. You know, and you know, are there a large number of steps in this? Is it achievable, but it requires a lot of different things? That's when you break it down into smaller steps also, okay? But it's got to be achievable. You know, if you say, I want to make $1 million, but you can barely pay the bills right now, that's not attainable. Like saying, okay, I am going to earn an extra $100 this month, and then next month you jump it up to, okay, I'm going to earn an extra $200 this month. You know, that's achievable versus I'm going to make $1 million next month. Same thing with losing weight. Okay, and this is going to come in with the time frame as well. Is okay, I want to lose 30 pounds. Okay, I want to lose 30 pounds this week. Is that achievable? No, probably not. Maybe not even a month. You might need 90 days for that. What do you think, Rose?
Only if you cut off a couple of limbs, that might help. I think that's only achievable in 1 week. But you're right. 30 pounds in 1 week is way too much in a short period of time. You have to be realistic, right?
Yeah, or massive liposuction. I'm just saying. Anyway, but actually, it's interesting that you mentioned that because you know, reasonable is like the next step. You know, the R, relevant, reasonable, realistic, resourced, results based. Okay, so the relevancy here is why. What does this add to your life? Okay, I would like to learn French. Now, do I set that as a SMART goal? What does that do for? How many people do I know speak French? Am I planning a trip to Paris? if I'm not going to Paris and I know nobody or one or two people that speak French, is it relevant? Is it reasonable to do that? Okay.
Right.
And then what you said, realistic. Is this a realistic goal? And
Right.
that leads us back to the other steps. You know, if it's not so realistic, okay, how can I make it more specific, more actionable, achievable, more measurable? How can I change that then to make it realistic, or just drop that as a goal altogether, especially if it's not relevant? Okay. And then the last one, T, is time bound, time based, time limited, time cost limited, timely, time sensitive. Um, that's where the motivation comes in. Incentive and progress can only be you can't measure progress or have incentive to accomplish it without a time frame. So saying I want to lose 30 pounds. Okay, we talked about it being realistic and achievable. The last two steps. Can you do that in a week, a month? Probably not. What about 30 years? Well, yeah, you could do it in 30 years, but you're not even going to remember that it happened 30 years later. And it forms no incentive and puts no pressure on. Okay, so another thing about it being time bound gives you a what's the word for it? A deadline. That's the word I wanted. It gives you a deadline, which gives more incentive. If you think of, okay, you're back in school and they gave you this project, you had to turn in this paper at the end of the month, and now you're down to the last 2 or 3 days, maybe the last 24 hours. That's when you really feel the pressure, and a lot of people do their best work under pressure. Yeah. So
right.
You want to make it time bound. You want to set a time limit on it that gives you a deadline that's achievable, but not so far out into the future that it's not going to create any incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
that
interesting because the time bound, like for me personally, I've always hated. I think the thing for me is more about failure. Like, okay, I set this goal and I didn't achieve it, and somehow that makes me a bad person. So that's something that I've had to deal with in terms of my own, personality or thoughts or whatnot. But it's really like if you think about the navigator, as you mentioned earlier, you're going to get in your car, you pop the navigator, put in the address, and you set out to drive, right? You know how we do things where sometimes we missed an exit off of the highway or we missed a turn for whatever reason. And what does the navigator do? It recalculates. So that's what the time-bound part is. Okay, so you're supposed to be here at this particular time, but stuff happens. Life happens. Maybe you fell off the activities that go along with the goal. But then by the time you get to the time, it's like, oh my goodness, here's the date that I said I was going to do this, but it didn't work. So rather than see it as, oh gosh, I failed, more like, let's recalculate. Do what the navigator does. This was my intention to get here maybe at a certain time, but I took a different route or made a wrong turn or something or other happened. I got distracted by the music. Now that we're running up against the time, okay, let's recalculate. That's how I like to think of it.
Recalculate. And it's funny because that's what I was going to mention next. Great minds think alike here. That's what I was going to talk about next, because how do you know that you've achieved it? You need to have that defined, and what's it going to look like? And the other part of this, sometimes when folks talk about the acronym SMART in setting the SMART goals, they actually add an E and an R at the end. They make it SMARTer goals. And the E and the R stand for different things. Like the E will stand sometimes for emotional, which I'm going to get into after this. I'm actually going to do these out of order here because I already have that planned out. But R can stand for different things. The last R in SMART, or, the first R is the relevant, realistic. The last R is rewarding and recalculating. Okay, so as you go along, you need to be recalculating, and also it's a combination of the T, the time bound, and the measurable, where it's not just you're going to measure and you're not just going to have a deadline when you ultimately reach the goal, but along the whole way. Remember, a goal and achieving a goal is not going to your local McDonald's, ordering a hamburger, and they hand it to you. That's not the kind of goal we're talking about, where it's instant gratification. It takes time, the T. Okay.
Yeah.
So to maintain incentive and to have progress, which are the two things that I mentioned when we discussed time bound, you have to measure along the way, and you have to have that set. Like perhaps for the weight loss goal, you're going to measure every day. That could be with a tape measure. That could be with a scale. However it is you decide you're going to measure this thing. And if you're not on, if you get off course like you were discussing, have a setback, whatever, you recalculate, that's that last R, and you reset out the goals. The goal. It may require you to change the time frame, create a new deadline. It may require you to, increase the speed of the steps in order to attain. Well, I set individual goals leading to the big goals of 30 pounds. I started with a pound, a minimum pound every 2 weeks. So you might have to up that to a pound every week for a little till you get back on track, you see. So that's that constant recalculating of the last R. It's also rewarding. What's your reward at the end? Attaining the goal, obviously, but what does that look like, and how is that going to reward you? Which also goes back to the first R of relevant. Why?
Right.
What does it add to your life? Yeah, you have to have this all figured out. And this gives you a framework, the SMART or the SMART-er goals, allows you to have a way of developing a plan, and it may take a while to figure out each step before you put it into action. And so you don't actually set the goal date until you have the entire plan figured out. So now I want to go back to if you add the ER to the SMART, make it SMART-er goals, the emotional, because emotions power the law of attraction. It's like the fuel in the rocket ship, okay? And so I want to go back to when I mentioned, what will the successful accomplishment of your goal look like? And when I say look like, I mean, what will it look like, feel like, sound like, smell like, taste like? Get all of those senses involved, because it allows you to create a five sense, like 360-degree, fully immersed, sensory based, not just a visualization, but a 5-sense visualization that allows you to, see what this thing looks like, and also you're writing down, how do I know that I've achieved this goal? I mean, some goals are more nebulous than others as far as, what the end product is, and this also brings me to the setting the intention. So setting the intention is bringing yourself into that feeling space that I just talked about, where you create the 5-sensory, fully immersive, 360-degree visualization as if you have already accomplished the goal. That activates the law of attraction. That sets the intention. So you have the SMART-er or SMART steps to allow you to create the plan for the goal, because now you have a goal with a plan, not just a wish. And we're also at the same time bringing in this, setting the intention. And by the way, this came up on the last show. We were brought up about the steps to manifestation and things. And I was contacted by a few of our listeners, and they want to hear about that. So by popular request, our next show, next Friday, that's actually what we're going to be talking about, is the steps to manifestation. It's the law of attraction steps. But we are tarot people, so we're going to do the tarot cross of manifestation. It's both a system for actually accomplishing the steps, and at the same time, it's actually a tarot spread that allows you to have a discovery process, discovering the steps as well. So It's going to be fascinating next week. Yeah. So there you go. That's SMART goals, and that's what you want to be doing versus doing resolutions, because resolutions are not what they used to be cracked up to be.
Yeah, it's a lot different now. But it's good because it helps people to focus in more.
That's right. And speaking of focusing in, you were telling me in the green room that you've got a mantra of the week that's going to allow people to do that. Why don't we do the mantra of the week before we go to the phone calls here? Oh, meanwhile, before you do that, Rose, real quick, just to let everybody know, remember you can join us in the chat room, thetarotguild.com/chat. That's thetarotguild.com/chat. You can also give us a call, 714-816-4628. We've got callers coming on board right now. Let's give them a couple more minutes to get into the queue. Press the one on your dial pad, so you get into the queue. And we'll go to calls right after this. So what's that mantra of the week there, Rose?
Okay, great. So we were talking about SMART goals, and sometimes I know I have this issue where I'm like, I don't know where to begin. I have so many problems. Which one do I choose? I need a SMART goal for everything, right? But that doesn't work. So we have to specify. We have to be specific. We have to be measurable, all these different things for our goals. And so if you are confused about where to start, there is a wonderful Tibetan mantra that is Hung Vajra Pe. Hung Vajra Pe. So the first word is spelled H-U-N-G, Hung. Next word is V-A-J-R-A, Vajra. And the last one is spelled P-E-H, which is Pe. Hung Vajra Pe. And basically what it means is, by the power of will through the spoken word, I invoke the thunderbolt of my mind. Okay, well, what does that do? So this Tibetan mantra is capable of clearing any space of negativity, whether physical, mental, or emotional. It is very helpful in giving you room to consider difficult questions and for any kind of question. So it helps to really clear your mind. So whenever they say clearing a space of negativity or clearing negativity, that also means, it really means to clear your mind so that you can think more, so that you can think, actually, so you can come up with what you're going to create for your SMART goal for the year. Okay? So Hung Vajra Pe. You can chant that in a traditional mantra practice, as you chant it 108 times a day for 40 or 45 days. And just like you would, I would say, your SMART goals, where you have, okay, here's the date that you're going to end, or you're going to stop your standard practice. When you get there, you take a look. Was I able to clear my mind? Did I feel like I was making better decisions in my life? That kind of thing. And if not, do another 40 to 45 days. mantras are a little bit more specific. I mean, more they're a little bit different from goals, right? You know, with goals you make adjustments here and there and whatnot. Well, with your mantra, basically you continue chanting the mantra until you achieve what it is that you're chanting the mantra for. So Hum Vajra Pe can help you clear your mind so that you can really hone in on your SMART goal. And that's it. That's the mantra for the week.
There you go. And, you know, while we're doing all this, we need to have some hope. And interestingly enough, coincidentally enough, the card of the day is the Star card, which is the card of hope and faith and keeping optimism.
Yay.
And harmony, which is also the numerology of today. You know, today's the 24th. 2 plus 4 is 6. That's a return to harmony and balance after the chaos of 5. You know, this is a great day to work on all this kind of thing. In fact, the whole date reduces to 2, but the final number before you reduce to 2 is 11. 1 plus 1 is 2, but 11 is a master number. So we always take note of that. It's the master illuminator number. 2 is cooperation, relationships, partnerships. Those are the kind of things to work on. And, you know, balancing things out, returning to that harmony with the 6 energy there. The Star card also reminds us as we go through this process to hold the optimism. So you go through the mantra, you get your mind in the right space to then go through the steps of the SMART or smarter goals and set the plan, you know. The Star card also talks about inspiration, you know, looking for inspiration that'll inspire you along as you're setting the goal or goals, and using your intuition along the way, looking for those insights, you know, perhaps programming your dreams. Make sure you have that pad and paper, you know, right next to you, so when you wake up in the morning, it's right there on your nightstand. You can write down everything that you think. In fact, you recently had this where you're working on your own business, Dr. Rose, and you had stuff come to you in your dreams that allowed you to work on setting your goals for 2020.
Yeah, and I didn't necessarily go into the intention of having that manifest, but it was something
it just happened.
of a statement. I think it was because I was listening, prior to that, I was listening to my hypnosis audios on confidence and having confidence, self-esteem, and whatnot. And I went into a dream state, and then a sentence came to me, just like as clear as day. I've been really interested in shamanic journeying, and I've decided that's the main focus I'll use, the main tools that I'll use out of that, I guess you could say tradition in a sense. It's not one tradition, but out of that to help people. And then it came, just like this sentence that came up, something like, what was it? Something around, having access to power, to your own personal power, love, and success, and something else. It was something around that language. I'm sorry, I'm not stating it clearly. I did write it down, but I'm just not looking at it right now. But it just came out as clear as day. And then when I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to lead me to what Dax and I have been doing. Dax is a wonderful life coach, by the way, and he's been helping me to really narrow down what my niche is going to be. And I've had a lot of problems trying to figure that out, but I'm close now. So now I have at least 3 life areas that I can focus on. I just need to choose that one that I think will be, the one for my business. Not that I can't do anything else, but I'm just honing down on that. Before, I was living in the nebulous cloud. I had no idea which one to choose. Now I'm down today to at least 3. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll continue to work on that. You and I are going to get on a call, and, people out there listening to us, and they know what we do, but you got to realize that all of us need this. All of us need a coach.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we also we're coaches. We have coaches.
Right.
And so, we're going to get on a call tomorrow and work out that so you can set your goal for 2020 as well. And if anybody out there wants any help with this, I'm available if you want to book me. And I'm going to do something really special here, Rose. I'm not putting this out in the social media ethers. You're not going to find this anywhere except for on this show today.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yes. So if you contact me, you can contact me through my page, thetarotguild.com/Dax, and it has all my contact information, my email. You can find me on Facebook, Dax Carlisle, and message me on Facebook. And if you want a coaching session, or if you want a hypnotherapy, NLP session to quit smoking, weight loss, if you want a coaching session to help you with setting these SMART goals, I'm going to do it for just our listeners on this show for 1/4 of what I normally charge, $97.
Wow.
I normally charge
$397.
Yes, I usually charge $397 for my sessions, but we're going to do it for $97 for the first 5 people that contact me after the show. So if you're listening to this in archive, still contact me, because maybe all 5 slots haven't been taken yet, But I can only afford to do it for 5, because I have my local clients, and they're paying anywhere from $197 to $397 depending on what it is that they're working on, But just contact me and let me know you heard about it on the radio show. $97. I specialize in smoking cessation. However, I also do pain management, weight management, PTSD, and things like folks want they want to be able to do public speaking, and they have phobias that we can erase a phobia in 1 session very, very rapidly. It's fantastic. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. We can do this on a Zoom session, a Skype session, from anywhere on the planet. I love modern technology. It's just fantastic. So there you go. There's my offer just for our listeners, Rose.
Nice.
And let's see, I'm looking at the phone lines. A bunch of people calling in now. I see we're at the bottom of the hour, so before we go to the phone lines, let's just knock out our upcoming shows. Of course, you'll always find those at psychictalk.net/upcoming, and we got some really great shows coming up for you, including tomorrow, Saturday, January 25th. I'll be on Tarot Today Radio with Mary Brown, and if you missed our New Year, not the New Year's show. That's actually tomorrow. It's New Year's readings for 2020. Yay! That's what we're doing tomorrow. New Year's readings for 2020, and we just had our 10th anniversary on the radio, our 10th anniversary show, and our very first radio show, January 20th, 2010, was called Tarot Today Radio. So our Psychic Talk, we call it the Psychic Saturday Show on Saturdays with Mary and I. We've changed the name. It's now Tarot Today Radio. So tomorrow on Tarot Today Radio, Mary and I are going to be offering New Year's readings for 2020. If you heard our last show of the year, last year, we did a show on a tarot New Year's spread, and we're going to use part of that spread. We're not going to do the whole spread. We don't have time to do that on the air. But if you want to get the whole spread, see what I'm talking about, go over to thetarotguild.com, and in the search box, type in New Year's Tarot Spread. That's New Year's Tarot Spread. You'll get the article pop up that I did on it. You'll also get the video in the video section for that radio show on the New Year's Tarot Spread. You'll be able to see the spread, listen to Mary and I talk about it. But one of the parts of it is a 3-card spread. It's a 3-card, one of the layers. It's like in a pyramid. And towards the bottom this 3 cards is something to look forward to, something to focus on, and something to watch out for. So we'll pull 3 cards for each of our callers, and they'll also be able to ask a question as well. That's tomorrow's show, Saturday, January 25th. And then on this Sunday, it's Magic Universe is back with Sharona Rapsik, and she's talking about how to receive downloads from universal consciousness. She'll also be taking your calls for tarot mini readings live on air. Then a double header on Monday, Wisdom of the Soul with Janice Fuchs, followed by Compassionate Light, Healing and Guidance with Catherine Hahn. Catherine's continuing her series of shows on living a purpose-filled life, perfect for the new year here. And as we mentioned, you and I will be back, Dr. Rose, on Friday, January 31st, the last day of January. We did the first and the last. Okay. So we're going to be talking actually about the Tarot Cross of Manifestation and the 4 steps, Law of Attraction, and also taking your calls as well. And then we'll be, oh my God, into February already. Mary Brown's doing Using Crystal Grids on the Mystical Musing Show, February 1st. I really want to watch that, listen to that show, because I don't really know anything about that, but I'm really into sacred geometry, and I know it's used in the crystal grids, so that's going to be fascinating. So I did want to mention 2 more things, Rose, real quick, as we go into February. You can mark your calendars, because we got these couple of really great shows coming up that you really should mark your calendars. We got February 7th, Friday, February 7th. We're doing what's your personal year number for 2020. So Mary and I did a show talking all about the world year, the universal year number of 4, and now we're going to talk about that in conjunction with your own personal year cycle. We're going to tell you how to figure out where you are in the cycle and what that all means, and you can call in and get your personal year number for 2020, as well as tarot mini readings, and that's February 7th. And our show the following Friday, it's Valentine's Day, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. We're going to be doing love mantras on that. Yeah, so mark your calendars. And if you're forgetting any of this, just go over to psychictalk.net/upcoming, and you can catch all the upcoming shows right there. Okay. So now we're going to go to the phone lines. Who's been waiting the longest? Rose, you want to take this?
So let's see. We have our caller. Oops, I'm sorry. Hold up. Wrong caller. Hold up. She didn't have her hand raised.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, let's see. We have our person from the area code 478. 478, if you're there, give us let us know your name and where you're calling from. Your area code is 478. You're on the air with us.
Hello.
Okay, I'll put them on hold. We'll come back to them. Let me find someone else who's been holding the longest. Okay, we have a caller from area code 212. I believe that's East Coast. Let us know your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I'm calling from New York, the East Coast.
Yay! All right. I figured it was New York, but you never know. People with cell phones are all over the world. So, welcome to the show, Mary. What can we do for you today? Do you have a burning question, or do you want to talk about your SMART goals for the year? What's up?
Well, I mean, my burning question has to do with my SMART goal for the year, which is to get a good job and to manifest more money. And I was thinking, it'd be nice to make at least $20,000 more than at my previous job.
Amen to
I'm
that.
hoping for even, right? And I'm just like, well, why cap myself at 20? It'd be better if it were 30. But, at the same time, I'm just kind of wondering.
That brings us to that R of realistic and, doable, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I briefly mentioned, I want a new job for 2020 as one of those nebulous goals. Because it's not specific enough. You got to be really specific, And by adding in what you did, adding in the monetary goal on top of that, helps a lot because it makes it a little more specific. It's a new job where I'm making at least $20,000 more a year.
Yes, and I'll make it even more specific. I just had a job interview today, and I'm wondering if you see that this is the job that would help me manifest my goal.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, yeah. We can
Dax will be shuffling the cards.
It definitely could be. I'm not getting a strong yes or no. What I'm getting is 3 cards out of 5 yes. And so it's definitely leaning that way, but it's like there's something left to be done that hasn't, and I'm getting cards talking about the powers that be, and the decision to be made. It looks like it would be a emotionally satisfying position. And the very last card I get is the 3 of Cups, which is a card of celebration. So I'm getting a lot of strong indicators that, yeah, this could be it. I'm just not 100% sure, and it's going to take a little time. It could happen as quickly as, you could hear a word on it in the next 3 days, or it might take 3 weeks. 3 is the
Right. Like, I even asked about their timeline for next steps, and the president said that they're in the early phases of interviewing for this position, and they hope that within a month they'll make their decision.
Yeah, that fits right into that 3-week thing. Yeah, that's why I'm getting this weird feeling looking at the cards for this, that it looks really good, but there's like a delay, and you've just explained why I'm getting this feeling,
Yeah.
And it's even possible that something else might come up in the meantime. I'm kind of getting that inkling as well. But if you were to get it, all the other indicators are that it's something that's going to get you to your goal, increased income, and the big thing that shows up is I'm getting a lot of cup cards, emotions, talking about it being a much more emotionally satisfying, emotionally stable kind of thing. Does that help you out?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Okay.
That's very positive.
So Mary, I have a question for you. Have you figured out your SMART goal in terms of, was it going from $20,000 to $30,000 this year, or do you need help in that area?
Yeah, well, I've been vacillating between a couple of different ideas, and one of them is to continue along a similar vein and get a job that's in my field, doing what I did before, but with a broader scope and with a pay raise of $20,000 to $30,000. So that was the job that I interviewed for today, and then I would like to secure a position by the spring, or start working by the spring.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the different things that need to take place to make that happen, or what is it that you need to do to make that happen, especially for the spring, to be in a new position?
Yeah. So I would need to send out more applications because, I don't have any other interviews lined up in the coming weeks, and I need to maybe get a hold of somebody I used to work with who works at a consulting firm, and she did recommend me for a job at the same firm a couple of years ago, but there were no openings back then, and I recently resubmitted my resume, haven't heard from them, and, I should follow up about that. And, I've also considered contacting this person again, even though I haven't been in touch with her for a couple of years, but she did recommend me to this firm.
Yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't do that. That's one of the things that, and I'm not going to,
Yeah, well, when
Dax,
you get a sec, let me interject because I got more information.
Oh, great. Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. But I was thinking about, those are some of the things you want to take a look at, as you're creating your SMART goals in terms of, chopping down, going from 20 to 30,000 can be a leap for many people. I know it would be for me. And just,
sure.
Doing step by step. So sending out more applications, meaning you got to do more job searches, contacting people, following up, even someone who recommended you for a job a couple of years ago. Those are all the actions that you want to put down or take and make that a part of your goal. So maybe that could be a sub goal, like, okay, so this coming week, I'm going to, put my application out to so many positions, 5 positions, this week, that kind of thing. So that's a good measurable thing to do. Just, as an example. I'm just using you as an example.
Yeah. All right.
Dax,
well, thank you.
Did you want to add? You're very welcome.
Yeah,
welcome.
I got some more stuff. 2 things actually. The first thing is I pulled more cards to look at it from the angle of, should you be staying in the same field or something else, and I'm getting a strong indication that you should that you're dead on, that you should be in the same field, maybe more expanded, like you said. In fact, the central focus card is the star card, which is the card of the day. That's when that shows up like that. That's the tarot winking at us. It's winking at you and saying, yeah, Mary, you're dead on with what you're doing. It's also, saying your intuition is dead on about it. And I got 4 out of 5 yes cards for that. There might be a delay with the Hanged Man showing up, but it ultimately pans out with the 6 of Pentacles, so that's the watershed, just flowing in there. Another thing about the Hanged Man is it's also a card of thinking outside the box. And this whole thing with the consulting firm and the friend and everything like that, might be what it's in.
Dax, are you there?
Yeah, can you?
Yeah, your voice
is
breaking up.
Yeah, your voice broke up at the last thing that you were saying.
That was the mute button somehow got squished here. And what I was saying was that I also got the 3 of Pentacles, which is a card about working on a project with other people. And did you catch what I said about the consulting firm?
I heard. I didn't really catch what you said about that. I just heard you mentioning the consulting firm.
Yeah, that was basically it. I was talking about the Hanged Man, which is also an angle on that. It is thinking outside the box, and your friend and the consulting firm may definitely be an area that you want to look at there. The number two, the other thing I wanted to mention, which is for you, Mary, but it's also for everybody listening out there. It's part of our discussion, Dr. Rose. We were talking about the SMART goals, setting the SMART goals. And one thing that I didn't mention that folks can do is when they're at the first step, getting specific and setting that goal, is to really sit with that and what's your emotion around that? What's the gut feeling? So you sit there and you take a deep breath, you put your hand on your solar plexus, take the deep breath, and just say it out loud. Making 20,000 more this year, making 50,000 more this year. Are you getting warm fuzzy feelings, or are you getting is it tightening up? Are you getting fearful around that or something? Because what that'll do is it'll give you an indication, not just monetary, but anything that you're thinking of setting when you're getting into that S, that specific. Do that. You could also do muscle testing as well. It's something I wanted to mention. Work with a friend. You're going to put your arm up, like the arm bar. They're going to test and I forget what the word is, synchronize this ahead of time where you're going to hold firm. They're going to push down on your arm. They're going to have you say out loud, "My name is Mary," and they'll push down, and the arm should stay rigid. And then they're going to have you say something like, "My name is Rachel," and your arm should go down. And it'll get weak. And that's, calibrating. That's the word I wanted. Okay, so you want to calibrate first. Make sure you're normally oriented. Okay, do that calibration, and then you can test it from, the SMART goal. You can test the specific goal from different angles. Is earning $30,000 more this year attainable? Is earning $30,000 more this year, or getting a new job, or whatever the goal is, in alignment with with what's best for me now? And they can push down, and you're going to get a yes or a no. Okay, so that's another thing that you can do in this whole process. And it may indicate you have the wrong goal and you have to recalculate. It could also just mean you have the right goal, but you have certain subconscious blocks around earning more income. And I'm not saying this for you, Mary. I'm saying this for everybody out there listening, that they can work with this, and they can test this, and if they need to, they can go to somebody that does EFT, emotional freedom techniques, or NLP, neurolinguistics, and work on clearing out any of the baggage, any of the blocks that they have around earning more money, or whatever it is that your goal is. Maybe you have a block against losing the weight because you're getting a secondary gain from that. There's a whole lot of different possibilities. So that's just more that you can do with this SMART goal setting process there. So
yes, and could you repeat your special again? Because my super walked in as you were announcing it, and I thought that you talked a little bit about hypnosis or something like that, and getting over your fear of public speaking, for example. That I heard, but then I didn't hear what the deal was.
Yeah, basically anything around that, because I do NLP, I do hypnotherapy as well as life coaching. So I was doing a special where just for our listeners listening to this show, I'm not putting this out on social media or promoting it or anything like that. It's only for our listeners that the first 5 people that contact me, we can do a session for $97, which is 1/4 of what I normally charge for a session. So I'm just doing that special just for our listeners.
Well, that's nice.
And it could be,
I think
it could be quit smoking. It could be weight loss, pain management, PTSD. It could be fear of flying, fear of public speaking, any phobia, or maybe you just want a life coaching session. You just want to sit down and work on your SMART goals. So any of those things, it's just $97 for the session. You could do it anywhere in the entire world, on Skype or Zoom or anything like any of those platforms.
Okay, well, that sounds cool. And your contact info is on the Blog Talk Radio page?
Yes, actually, it's not right on our Blog Talk show page. However, you can go to our main website, psychictalk.net. I'm on there. So is Rose. And we're right there on the front page. You can see our pictures, and you can just click on us. I'm on the Tarot Guild site, which is my main site, and it's thetarotguild.com/Dax. You can find me on Facebook real easy. It's Dax Carlisle on Facebook. You just search Dax Carlisle. I'll pop right up, usually the first thing. And you can email me, dax@thetarotguild.com.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Thanks, Mary.
I will send you an email then. All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Mary. Let's see.
Thank you, doctors.
You're welcome.
The doctors are in.
The doctors are in. Let's see, the next person has been holding the longest. We have someone from area code 203. If you are from 203, you're on the air with us. Give us your name and let us know where you're calling from.
My name's Pat in Connecticut. Sorry, I'm going to be out of traffic in like a minute. Sorry.
Okay.
For the background noise.
Okay, why don't you state what you... Go ahead and state what you need.
Wondering if you could pull some cards just as far as what's happening. Things just kind of are getting more and more difficult on all levels, financial and so on. Just trying to figure out if I just need to, wait it out and just keep a positive attitude, or what's going on.
Okay.
And that's while you're doing the cards, I'm going to put Pat on hold just for the moment to reduce the background noise, and we'll bring it back on once you're done.
Yeah, I'm getting a real strong yes on this. I tried, sometimes some of these questions like that are kind of nebulous, but I try to make it into a specific, and I'm talking this way because we're SMART goals, folks. SMART goals. Get specific. And so what I did was I just, attacked it from the way Pat said it at the very end, because she basically said, do I need to wait this out? And that gives us a nice yes, no, and we're getting a strong indication from the cards. 4 out of 5 cards are yes cards. It's a strong yes. You're doing all that you can be doing and what you should be doing. It's a situation that's going to work itself out. You're actually at the precipice of one cycle is going to end and another cycle is going to begin, and that's indicated by the Death card. The Death card is a card of transition. One phase is ending, another is beginning. One door is closing, another door opens. And in the background of the Death card, at least in the traditional Waite-Smith version, there is the sun is coming up, the dawn is coming up. It's very. I always say it's very similar to the Ten of Swords. Slight differences, but this is a major arcana card, so it's even more powerful. It's not the more basic things, but life changing almost. And the Knight of Coins shows up, the Knight of Pentacles, which is a card of slow, steady progress, which reinforces the answer to the original question. That she needs to be methodical in her process, practical, okay, patient, and keep the course. Is steady on the course is exactly what's coming through here. Now that said, the practical aspect means that, okay, let's bring it full circle, Dr. Rose, back to the topic of the show, setting SMART goals. The universe brings in more of what we want. If our focus is in what we have now and the lack, we draw more of that in. So instead, we have to do the opposite. Yes, we got to figure out, okay, if you're having these, difficulties, Pat, you got to figure out, okay, how do you want it to actually be? And get into that feeling space that I discussed. If it's 2 months from now or 3 or 6 months from now, and you're in that place where you want to be, what does that look like and sound like and feel like and smell like and taste like? And all 5 senses, just a complete sensory immersive 360-degree visualization of what is that like, because that allows you to bring it into the now where you're telling the law of attraction. And we're going to go through the 4 steps of manifestation on next week's show, so definitely tune in next week. How you do that, and that's telling the universe, this is what I want, So I did mention before about doing different techniques like EFT and NLP techniques to get rid of the baggage, to clear out the blocks and things like that, Rose. But I did want to say, this brings up this perfectly, where there's another way of doing that, and that's, instead of focusing on clearing that out, which, what's that doing? That's just putting more focus on what you don't want. Instead, you have to clear your mind out of that, and you do that by creating these goals, creating how you want your future to be, and constantly reinforcing that by writing a list out, and every day adding a little bit to the list, how you want life to be, and focusing on that every morning, maybe 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, using some of the mantras that Dr. Rose has given us, to get us into that space. And that's what you need to be doing. The cards are saying,
okay,
keep the steady course.
Let me bring her back on.
Yeah, keep the steady course and focus on what you want and set SMART goals. This thing that you end up writing this list for and figuring out how you want your future to be has elements to it. Each one of those elements can then become a SMART goal that you focus on and knock them out one by one. Does that resonate with you, Pat? Does that help you out?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Oh, I thought I was muted. Absolutely. And you're right. It's a death card. It's nothing less than that. And, the goals were already set in place and already working on things. And then the death card got even stronger. And I continue to set goals. I also, as you say, I'm doing EMDR, which tends to be very negative. It's going back into post-traumatic stress. And there are times when I wondered, is it too much? But I think the process is I've got to go through it. But what's been happening lately is I've been questioning myself, and there may be validity to the things that I'm questioning, but it's disturbing. I see loss everywhere. For example, loss of friends. And, now I'm at a place where, what is wrong with you? Negative thinking patterns, working on that, and then wondering, are you really working on it? Are you really improving? You just seem to be worse and worse and worse. The fact of having no friends can be a testament to a lot of things. But for me, lately, I fear it's a testament to me and what I'm sabotaging. And
I feel strongly that you're focusing on a lot of this, and you're drawing more of it in, and that's where I get afraid for a lot of our callers, because it's a continuing pattern that Dr. Rose and I hear all the time, right, Rose? They're focusing on the lack. They're bringing more of that in, and what was the modality you mentioned? The EDMR?
EMDR, yeah.
EMDR, that's right. Yeah, the eye movement. It's actually a really great technique, but it can be negative. It can be focusing on the net. There's better techniques that you don't really have to go through that, and you're able to squash out the feeling space around it. Time techniques is the best one for that, and so if you could find a practitioner that does time techniques, or if you want to do time techniques with me, we can go future pace into where anxiety is based on something that's going to happen in the future. So we can move into the future, go past it, and knock it out. We can also go into the past to those events, knock it out, and everything else that's happened that's in alignment with that same particular thing can all be knocked out with what's called time techniques.
I just want to say, I appreciate that, and it's limited what I can do financially. I need to find things that are covered by insurance. But when I talk about this, people tend to, with all due respect, focus on saying you're bringing it in because you're focusing on this. But really, when you're in a positive place and when you're working really hard and you know you're working hard and you're planning on healing and you see the healing and then you see loss and loss and loss and loss, you know that it's I can't think of the word, but it's in the cosmos. You're supposed to go through this. You know, this is happening. It's real. It's by the planets or whatever. But so it's and more loss and more loss and more loss till there's almost nothing. You know, so even when I heal, and I still plan to heal, I guess today I was wondering what's going to be there. There's going to be nothing. In a way, in one perspective. So it's hard not to think about the losses because you need to open your arms to them and look at them and say, wow, this is happening, and wow, this is happening, and wow, okay, why, and what's that connected to, and how can I heal it? So there's got to be focusing on the death as it comes day after day after day in new ways. And I do see the positive things. You know, I see my computer break, and it's like it almost paralyzes me. How am I going to pay for this now when I'm worried about paying for my dog? And then I'm under warranty, so it's free. And I say, thank you, universe. I know you're there. Thank you. But I just have to say it's hard not to focus on the negatives when it's coming every day. A new one, a new one, a new one, a new one. And you're like, your hands are open like, what's going on? And I'm talking about months or year.
Okay.
And I'm not arguing with you. I'm just asking if you can understand.
Yeah, I can understand, but I really think that you're not really hearing
still
me.
Focusing.
And
okay.
Yeah, you're still but it's not just that. It's and we got to get going because we're like way over right now, you know. But I just want to leave
I do hear you.
And I want to leave you and everybody else that's listening. You know, I'm not saying forget about what's happening. What I'm saying is you got to accept, and then you've got to focus on what you want. And people rarely do that. People that call into the show, they're not focusing on what they want. They're not setting SMART goals. What they're doing is they're just staying in that feeling space, you know, of what it is, and they draw more of that in. That's how the law of attraction works. I can't explain it any other way, and, you know, I'm not
well,
here
I do
to
hear
tell
you,
people,
and I appreciate the reminder very much.
Yeah, but I'm not here to tell people what to do, what to think. I'm telling them what actually, how the inner workings function. They can decide to agree with it, believe it, do it, or not do it. It's completely up to you. You know, this is the road out. This is the road out.
No, I appreciate. Believe me, I appreciate what you're saying, and I'm thankful to have that message again today because it helps me get back on track.
Thanks for the call, Pat.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you. Okay, Dax, would you like to? Do we want to do one more caller?
We can do one more caller, but you know, I think it's really good to reinforce that there are techniques to take the emotional attachment out of the things that are happening, and then the other side of it is really getting in touch with how you want it to be and being extremely specific about it and setting SMART goals. Okay?
Right.
But you have to be willing to do it. If you're not going to do the work, you know, there are people in most cities that do EFT for free, that do time techniques for free. So, you know, monetary should not be a stumbling block. You can do research, you can find people in your area that, or even if it's not in your area, you go on the web. You can get on a Skype call with somebody that does EFT for free, that does time techniques for free, and you can knock out this emotional attachment around the negative things, and then you can set your SMART goals, you can focus in on how you want your life to be, telling the universe, this is what I want more of. When you're not doing that and you're just focusing on the negative and not working on it with the techniques, you have to focus on it, obviously, to work with some or most of the technique. But you're working on it, But if you're unwilling to work on it, you're unwilling to set the goals for the future, and you're focused in on this, you're telling the universe, I want more of this, and you're going to get more of it.
Right.
It's just practicality.
No, I agree. And and I want to tell people just really quickly, look, if you have access to the internet, which most people do who listen to this podcast show, on YouTube you can find anything for free. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and this is something that's more technically based. I was teaching at a university, and I was having problems with my laptop, and I needed a laptop in order to teach. And so I looked up. I said, okay, well, what other piece of technology do I have? Oh, I have a tablet. So I looked up on YouTube. I was talking to my brother, and he said, look up on YouTube. There's always a video on that. So how do I connect my YouTube to the projector to be able to do this and that? Don't you know there's all that information I told you specifically. This is how you do it. Here are the things that you need. So really, there are a lot of free things out there, especially on the internet. So if you have access to that, and like I said, most of our podcast callers do, go to the internet. Or better yet, contact Dax or I, and we'll let you know. There's a lot. If finances are a struggle for you in this day and age, there's so much that's out there that can help you, and it's for free. So please don't be discouraged. Or I don't have enough money to take this class. You don't necessarily have to pay for a course. There's so much out there that's free, and start at YouTube. You'll find what you need there.
And going along with the same line with YouTube, I'll throw in one of your favorites, Udemy, because everything in the world can be learned on Udemy, and they have sales all the time where it's like $9 to take a $150 course. Everybody can scrape together $9.
They have sales every month. All you have to do is get on either their email list or go check out their site every month. So there are courses there that are $200, $300, $400 and more, and every month they're going to have a sale where it's $9.99 or $12.99 or something like that. That's under $20. So so if you have a little bit that you can spare, go to udemy.com. And some of them have free courses, not a lot, but there's a way. There's a way. You just have to think outside the box, like Dax was saying earlier. So, Dax, do we want to do one more call? And
if we get squeezed in it, it's going to have to be fast because we're already way over. But there was a 510. There was a 510 area code. 478 didn't pick up, but they're still on the line. I don't know which one you want to go for here.
Let's do the 510. Hi, 510 area code. Welcome to the show, and give us your name and let us know where you're calling from.
My name is Tasha, and I'm calling from California.
Hey, Tasha.
Have you called into the show before, Tasha?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. The only reason why I asked is that I have the same area code as you do, so I was like, it's been a while since we heard from this person. How are you doing?
There was an East Coast Tasha and also a Tasha from Arizona, but this Tasha hasn't been on for quite a while.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. What can we do for you?
Thank you. I just wanted a general reading, just what the card shows, like message.
Okay, what area of life? It would be better if you're specific.
And as far as work.
No, the cards will actually look really positive. The central focus card is the Four of Cups, which is talking about your emotions around this. Also, the Ace of Cups comes up. There's another emotions card. In the card, there's opportunity. Like the individual is focused on these three cups that they got their arms crossed. They're not really happy about this, but they're missing the fact that off to their right is another opportunity that they're not seeing. it's similar to what we were talking about with Pat. It's like being focused on what you don't want, and you're so busy doing that you're not noticing that there's other opportunities. There's really great positive. I mean, Ace of Cups is a new beginning, and especially around things that are joy, peace, things like that. So emotional stability in regards to career. And the other cards are like the Knight of Coins shows up again, which came up for a previous caller, where it's slow, steady progress. I got the Success card, the Six of Wands, and it's bookmarked on the other side by another six card, the Six of Pentacles, which is the fruition of this happening in a financial or material sense here. And six is actually the day. We're here on the 24th. 2 + 4 is 6, and I talked about this in the beginning of the show, a return to harmony and balance. So it's focusing on that and expanding your awareness, thinking outside the box. That central focus card, 4 of Cups, 4 is structure, and think of the 4 sides of a box. It's thinking outside the box. If you've been honestly working on this, and you're honest with yourself, and you've been honestly working on getting better in this area, making things happen and so forth. Remember, Einstein said doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity. So you need to think outside the box. You need to expand your awareness so you're not missing any opportunities. I really feel like there's something already there that you're just not honed in on yet. And then all these wonderful success cards show up.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So does that resonate with you? Do you get what I'm talking about?
It's sort of, in a way, it ain't happened yet, but it's letting me know it will happen.
Yep, it definitely will happen. I'm feeling a strong sense. Remember, 6 is also the timing card. So, sometime within, as quickly as the next 6 days, Rose, I'm going to put Tasha on hold for a second because a lot of background noise. Yeah, so either in the next 6 days or 6 weeks, somewhere in that time frame, and how quickly it happens is entirely up to you. It's not a predictive thing. It's a lot of the timing that I get. It'll show possible outcomes, but really it's up to you. We are the ones that make the magic happen.
Right.
And how quickly something happens, it could happen over the next 6 weeks, but it could happen, just in the next week, over the next 6 days, by shifting our focus, thinking outside the box, expanding your awareness, looking for the opportunities that you're missing. And the big one, of course, is what we were talking about with Pat, is setting the focus.
Right.
Yeah. What do you want? How do you want your career to progress? What jobs would fill that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what I've got for you, Tasha. We got to run, Tasha, because we're at the end of the show here.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to our callers who called in that we spoke to, Mary, Pat, and Tasha, and our other callers for listening in. And if we didn't get a chance to get to your call, sometimes we can get to all of them, and sometimes I'm not able to, and that's one of those examples today. There is a show tomorrow that you can call in at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and Dax will be there, as well as, who else is going to be there? Mary, right. Okay, I'm sorry. I couldn't remember. I wanted to say Mary, but I wasn't sure. Mary. So they will be there, and they're also taking readings as well. So we definitely encourage you to call back tomorrow if you weren't able to get a mini reading today.
We have some callers that called in, and we picked up their line, and they weren't ready or they weren't there, so call back in tomorrow. It's the same phone number. Just write it down, 714-816-4628. Mary will be there with me 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central, 7 UK. We're going to be there for you tomorrow, and we're doing New Year's readings too. So in addition to asking a question, we'll pull some cards for your question. We'll pull 3 cards, something to look for, which in the more positive sense, something to focus on and something to watch out for this year. We're going to be doing New Year's readings tomorrow, and you can call in. Remember, Rose and I will be back next Friday. It's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about the cross of manifestation. In fact, on the show page, you can go to the Tarot Guild website, thetarotguild.com, and click on events, and you'll find that show listed in there. Or go to psychictalk.net/upcoming. You'll find it in there. And if you go to that page, the banner for that page actually has the cross of manifestation on it. You can take a look at it before we even get to the show next Friday, and we'll be talking about the steps to manifestation and taking your calls.
Wonderful.
Thanks for being here, Rose, too. It was fun.
Oh, well, thank you, Dax. It was definitely fun, and I'll see you next Friday, and see everybody next Friday for the Doctors Are In again.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. See you tomorrow for me. Bye, Rose.
Bye, Dax.